Welcome to the Partizan podcast. I'm Ben, this is George, and today we're talking about BJJ etiquette for beginners. George,
Yes.
etiquette for beginners. What do you think is the most important thing as far as etiquette goes? Somebody's never trained before in their life.
Yes.
They're about to come. One of your friends has never trained. They
Yes.
want to come and train here at Partizan Grappling, the best gym in the world. What do you think they should know about etiquette? The number one thing.
Define etiquette for me.
Oh, that's a very good question. Etiquette is... How about your question, Ben, you piece of shit? My definition of etiquette. It's like behaving in a way that's not polite and respectful, but considerate. I think considerate is a good, a good way to put it. Being considerate of your training partners. To ensure that they have a pleasant experience. I think that's what etiquette means to me.
Right.
We think that someone might think of etiquette as like almost like table manners, to not be like rude.
Yes. I don't know if this is too general, but just be in control of your body, including your body weight and your actions. Okay. If you've just had a roll and I've asked you, like, what have you done? Like, you shouldn't be super
What have you done?
You shouldn't be blood on the floor.
What have you done?
Respectfully, I don't know what I just saw.
Control your body, sir.
So it means things like, essentially this is a wide umbrella to say, be safe, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you should never be in a position where you can't control your body weight falling onto someone else, for example, right? Because now we're getting really unsafe. We had an open mat not too long ago, and we had some very first timers, and they were doing stand-up with having absolutely no clue what they were doing.
That was exciting to watch.
That was exciting to watch, but respectfully, it gave me a heart attack. And
we were a little bit nervous.
I was very nervous. So essentially, if you're standing up, it will make it quite difficult to control your body weight moving down, right? So the risk of injury, if we could put up a graph, it goes like this.
It's high. It's up. It's up.
It's up.
Up and to the left.
It's up. Yeah. What would come to mind for yourself?
That's a really good point, and I guess the word spaz gets used a lot.
Yeah.
Some people are getting upset at that word. I'm not sure if the word's been cancelled or not. Let me know in the comments whether we're allowed to say spaz or not. For the purpose of this conversation, I'll use it. Yeah. But it's kind of, I guess it's defined as that, right? It's being reckless with the way that you train in live training, where the risk of injury increases significantly.
That is exactly what I was defining. I didn't even think of. I haven't used the word spaz in a while.
Yeah, bring it back. No, maybe not. Maybe we should cancel it.
There's something I don't like. Maybe I just feel like it's just overused. You know?
Okay.
It's just an overused word.
Yeah.
That's been used for a while.
We should get a new word.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll think about that. Comment down below the new word that we should use instead of spaz, especially if you're upset that we're using it. Apologies if you're upset. Yeah. I don't want to upset anyone. Yeah. I'd never do that.
That's fair. You would never do such a thing.
But that's probably the most important thing. The second... Yeah. Actually, let's continue on this a bit more. Because a lot of people think before they've started training that, man, like if I roll with a black belt, like they could really hurt me. Yeah. And the irony of that is the black belt is the safest person in the room for you to train with. Yeah. They should be. Yeah. That white belt can really hurt you. Yes. Those are the most dangerous people that you should be.
I'm so scared of white belts.
Yeah, man, you should be.
I'm so scared of white belts.
Because they do things sometimes that are unpredictable.
It's wild.
And they're very enthusiastic. Yeah. I guess a good thing that I've heard about training safely that kind of relates to this is if you don't know what you're doing, don't do it harder or faster. Yes. Just because you're like, what I'm doing is I can't pass the guard. Yeah. I'll just do it fucking harder. Yeah. And like it's not a good idea. Like just learn what to do first.
That's very, very true. Just as a mini tangent on that. I love tangents too. Basically, like something that I do as well, if I feel like somebody is starting to be really unsafe, like I'll just let them submit me. Yeah. Because it's like, okay, it's okay. Yeah. Take this up.
Sometimes that doesn't work.
Doesn't it?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I've never experienced that.
You've never experienced
that?
No,
usually that's worked for me. Like, just take my back.
If you've ever submitted George, it was't real. You were just being a space.
Yeah.
He's actually never been submitted before.
Never once.
This guy's bad. I'll give him an arm bar. That's a good point. If they're being like overly competitive, and you think it's like they just want to win the round, it could be a safe thing to do. Just be like, hey man, take
like if it's getting dangerous, just let them have it.
Or,
it's okay. It's okay.
And this is really hard for a lot of you out there to do, but use your words and talk to the person and say, hey man, can you just relax a little bit?
Right.
Or like, hey, so like, I don't know, just can we we're like 9 out of 10. Can we back it off to like a 6 out of 10? Is that okay?
I feel like we've got different communication styles. You're a verbal communicator.
You gotta be verbal.
Just a more physical communicator.
Or just beat the fuck out of them for it. To show them that beating the fuck out of you is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Just escalate it until you crush their spirit and their jaw. No, but using your words is good. Yeah. I've had to do this once. I remember it quite vividly. And this is the conversation that actually happened. I've just remembered this. I was training with a guy at a different gym. And he was just going like way too hard and being like very reckless. And I think he was a white belt, probably was a white belt. And I stopped him and I said, listen, man, normally I would just respectfully just beat the shit out of you in this situation, but I'm trying to be better and use my words. So right now, I feel like you care more about winning this role than my well-being and safety. And I don't like that. I don't like when the priority of tapping me is higher than my physical well-being. So I'm just going to let you know. And then he never came back. That's
good, man.
But a lot of people, and me and you know this, and maybe people listening to this, the most people, if a white belt is training with like a purple or brown or black belt, etc., and the white belt's going really hard, you actually have a bit of an uncommon response. Most people would just go really hard back to prove to them like you fucked up. And that's the way they try and communicate it. And some people get the message and some people don't. Have you had that experience of someone getting the message or someone not getting the message?
Yeah, I mean, I'll gauge it too. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't do that tactic with everyone. It's more somebody that's, maybe with white belts, I wouldn't do that as much.
I'll give them a submission.
But I don't know, it just, you have to figure it out.
It's difficult.
Person to person scenario. There are definitely people where you don't feel safe allowing that, and you're like, okay, I can't even let them breathe for 1 second.
That's where a discussion is needed to be had. And for the round itself, you can bring it back to like, I'm practicing my self-defense, and you like just give them no space. If we're talking now about what the person should do if they're rolling with someone that's being spazzy, if we're pivoted there, just give them no space. Just be as tight and as smothering as you can, because it's space that creates like impact. If you've got them in closed guard and you're just completely controlling their posture, it's a boring round. But they're not going to injure themselves or you.
What I do a lot of times with those people, I'll either get mount or back, and then just hold them there.
Just hold them. Just stall. That's a good strategy for winning competitions in IBJJF as well. Shout out IBJJF. Our good friends over at the IBJJF. Free Seb. The next point when it comes to hygiene. I've given it away. The next point that comes to etiquette, I think hygiene is the most important. And we've spoken about this before in the pilot episode, if anyone listened to it. But hygiene is one of those things that it's really important because it directly impacts the training experience of everyone around you. And it might be something that you're not really aware of if you've never done like a combat sport or you've never done any sport. You might not understand the importance. Maybe you work a physical job and you've been outside sweating all day and like lifting concrete or whatever you do. If you then come to training and you haven't showered, you haven't put deodorant on, you haven't cleaned yourself, it makes it or you haven't cut your nails. That's a huge thing that people don't understand. Your nails need to be clean.
Nick Pan.
Oh, shout out Nick Pan.
Nick Pan sharpens his nails before he goes to train. Like if you hear him cutting his nails, he's actually sharpening.
Okay.
All right. Sorry,
you bladed Nick Pan.
I just had to get that off my chest.
Get off my chest. Back to my point. They have to be clean. They have to be trimmed. And filed.
Okay.
Some people just cut their nails and they also leave sharp points on the nail, especially if you cut them just before training. You should be filed. I know it's like a lot of dudes out there be like, maybe you feel emasculated by using a nail file.
What, by cutting your nails?
No, by using a nail file.
Oh.
The little, you know the one? You know the nail file?
Yeah.
Will you feel comfortable using a nail file? Are you a nail file kind of guy?
I don't think it's necessary to use a nail file.
Dude!
Well, just do like multiple cuts so it's like round.
It depends on...
Figure it out.
It depends.
Make it work.
Make it work. It
bro.
depends on the way you cut your nails. You don't always need one.
I mean,
but it's nice to have.
Like you could cut a semicircle with just multiple cuts instead
Dude,
of
you should have seen me in
doing
school,
3
man.
cuts and like you're done.
You got to stay in the lines and shit. Okay, you don't need a nail file. It's not obligatory.
Okay.
But it can be nice to have because it can kind of file down the sharp edges. It doesn't take long either, right?
I agree. I just don't own a nail file.
Okay.
But I never cut. Like, I never cut.
Any nail file companies out there want to sponsor George, reach out.
Yeah.
We'll make it happen. Any other hygiene? Like deodorant's a massive one.
Just because I think you're really good at using your words.
Thank you.
What would you do? Let's say you're a white belt, you've been partnered up in the intro class, and your partner is like smelling, right?
Yeah.
What do you do? Like, how do you use your words in that scenario?
You say, dude, you're fucking disgusting.
No.
Like, you're the grossest human being I've ever seen.
Is that what you would say?
No, you wouldn't say. Fuck. As the student.
Yeah, you're a student. Okay, so like, you're in an uncomfortable environment.
Yeah.
How do you handle this situation? I'm asking from somebody that, as a white belt, I was partnered up with this guy. This was back in my gi days.
Oh, the gi days.
The gi stunk so much.
Oh, man.
We were doing like side control or something. I was literally like gagging and I was too nice to say something. Like I didn't know how to communicate. Like I'm literally about to vomit. Like it was
that bad.
It was so bad.
There's kind of two ways.
I had no way to use my words.
There's two ways you could go about it, okay? You can be direct and talk to them.
Yeah.
And first off, you give them the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, how do you do this? I don't know.
Would you say respectfully?
Respectfully. Like, if you start a sentence with respectfully, they can't get upset.
You can say whatever you want.
It's impossible. You can say whatever you want. It gives you a free pass. You say, hey, look, you probably forgot to put deodorant on. There's some in the back room. Do you want me something to go grab you some?
Right.
Be like, or just take them aside quiet and say, hey, look, like sometimes it happens to me too. Like, or, like if it was me, I'd want someone to tell me. Or 4D chest, here's what you do.
Right.
You go, hey man, if I stank really bad, would you want to tell me?
Right. Okay.
And they go, yeah, I probably would. I'm like, all right, then respectfully.
Yeah. Okay, I like that. Yeah. That's a good one.
Because you wouldn't.
That's a really good one. Yeah.
And just say like, hey, because I don't want to like just tell them. Maybe put it on you. Say, hey, there was this time when I started training where like I didn't wash my gi properly, and I spent the whole gi smelling, and no one told me until I got home.
Yeah.
And then I felt really bad because I had to train with all these people.
Yeah.
I don't want you to be in that position.
Yeah.
That's like tactical empathy, dude. That's the fucking strat.
I like it.
Or second option.
Tactical empathy.
Weaponized empathy. Option number 2 is you sneak off and tell the coach. Be like, hey, like I don't want to like be weird, but this person just like they smell quite bad. It's impacted my training. Do you mind having a chat with them?
Yeah.
Because not that coaches and owners always have the best communication either, but it's their job. Like it's my job and your job here. If we're seeing somebody behave in a way that's impacting the training experience of other people, it's our job to fix that.
Yeah.
And like it's not the member's job.
Yeah.
But I have had this happen before. And if you're listening to this, someone might be listening to this that has had that. They can vouch for this that happened.
Yeah.
That someone had come in, they had really bad body odor, and I took him to the back room. I said, "Hey man, we've got deodorant here. Can you put some on, please?"
Yeah.
And like I said it in like a nicer way, but that was my whole message, and he did. It was no problem. Like he came back in again, like same thing. I had to do it again.
Yeah.
I think there was even a third time where maybe I didn't catch him at the start, but I noticed he was training with someone.
Yes.
He was training with a girl.
Yeah.
And I felt so bad for her that in the middle of drilling, I said, "Oh, can I drill with her?
Yeah.
And you go and put deodorant on."
Yeah. Wow.
So I stepped in mid-drill, and she said, "Thank you for doing it."
Yeah. Is this a controversial opinion? I don't like training partners with like any kind of deodorant or like cologne.
That's a very controversial opinion.
Really?
Yes, dude.
Like I don't like, especially like nice perfume or something.
Really, I like a little bit of cologne.
Really?
Yeah.
I hate. Let's say I'm stuck in like Mount, and somebody's
Don't be stuck in Mount,
chest has like a really nice perfume. Like now I'm like choking on this
because it's overpowering, or because
it's like
no, but is it a little bit okay, or is it the volume of?
It's probably
intensity?
the volume. Like
Well,
some people go too far.
No,
it's like
different
just have a shower. Like you can't cover up, Like I guess if it's in an emergency, you need to do it like the last second. But I'm not a big fan.
I'm a fan of just a little bit of cologne. I get sometimes people give me compliments.
Yeah. Okay.
People say you smell good.
Right. Okay. Well, I've never smelled cologne on you.
Good. It should be a little lingering of like, is that hazelnut? Is that there's some woody oak sense? As I'm getting fucking submitted.
Wow. Yeah.
I'm a deodorant and a little bit of cologne on the wrist guy.
Wow.
Yeah. Every training session.
I'm not a fan of deodorant. Is like, I don't think that's good for you.
Depends on the deodorant. I don't use antiperspirant.
Okay. Right.
I use roll-on deodorant.
Right.
Well, this is kind of a weird tangent here, but that's all right.
Yeah.
I guess it's related.
I mean, it might help
It might help. Okay.
What should you do? So what are you doing?
I'm not a fucking deodorant scientist.
So
but if I was.
You have a shower at least half an hour before class.
Yeah.
You put in a little bit of deodorant.
Yeah.
You
put on a little bit of cologne, but that's just me.
That's just Ben.
That's just me.
Manicure your fingers.
It depends on what day you've had too, right? But if you've done any sort of like physical labor or work, if you have sweat in your clothes, like change them.
I've rolled with people with mud on their like legs still.
Yeah, if I see dirt on the fingernails, that makes me like quite upset.
It's a bit.
Not upset. I'm not upset. I'm just like, bro.
Guys, Ben is upset.
I'm upset. I'm fucking livid right now.
Yeah.
What should they do? Yeah, that's the main thing.
Okay.
Definitely. Oh, well, this is a really important point. Clean your training gear immediately as you can.
Wow. Okay, so you're cleaning your dirty stuff the same night?
Every time.
Whoa.
Yeah, every time. Are you saying that as a joke?
Yeah.
Okay. Dude, you don't know, man.
No, I know.
Your guy that had the gi obviously didn't wash it.
I don't want to know what that guy did.
He didn't wash it. Here's what happens is you sweat in it, you leave it out, or you leave it, at the worst, you leave it in a bag or something. It's, the sweat by itself is not necessarily as dirty, as weird as that sounds, but it like harbors bacterial growth.
How are you washing your no-gi stuff? You put it in the machine?
I should make a video on this because I have three products I use.
Oh wow, 3 products?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
3. I can put it up in the video actually. I'll put up in the video. Jamie, put up the 3 products that I use. Standard deodorant. That's obviously like an essential.
Yeah.
You need, not deodorant, sorry, washing, what do we call it? Washing liquid.
You put washing liquid?
Liquid
like
or powder?
Or powder?
No, you can have liquid or powder.
Okay.
They both do the same job.
Okay.
Washing liquid or powder, okay?
Yes.
That's number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, which is like highly recommended, is like an antibacterial liquid. The brand name is escaping me, but I'll put it up in the video. And number 3, if you want to be super fancy, is there's a company called Downy, and they make these like little beads that have fragrance in them.
Oh.
And they're like little beads, and they're colored like blue or purple, and you pour a little bit, and you put the colored beads in the washing, and they break open, and they have little. It's not fabric softener, but it's like a little scent.
Wow.
That makes your clothes and your sheets and towels smell good.
Amazing.
And that's what we do.
Wow. That's a thorough.
It's pretty thorough
procedure.
But I think it's important.
Yeah.
I think it's important. I think it's important to smell good, right?
Yeah. Well, at least not to stink.
At least not to stink. Not everyone needs to look.
Maybe it's fine to smell neutral too.
Yeah, neutral's fine.
Not everyone needs to be smelling like a flower.
Maybe I'm a bit over the top.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm a bit over the top. But this is Bella too. Bella's.
Yeah.
She's the main
as you were saying that, I'm like, I wonder how much of this is driven by Bella.
It's 80% Bella. 90%. She'll get mad at me. I'll put the. This is on a tangent. We'll get back to it. Sorry, guys. But after my story.
Yeah.
I'll put the washing on. She goes, have you put the antibacterial in? Oh, yes, Bella. Have you put the good smells in? Yes, Bella, I put the good smells in. Shout out my fiance, making us smell good.
Accurate voice acting.
Yeah, that's exactly what she sounds like.
Yeah.
Etiquette. Back to etiquette.
Yes.
For jiu-jitsu.
What's the next one?
Don't train with skin infections.
What?
Yeah.
What?
If anyone's listening to this, jokes aside, someone might be listening, statistically someone listening to this right now doesn't understand.
Yeah.
If you train combat sports, close contact sports, grappling, fighting, there's going to be a risk of skin infections. The 2 primary skin infections are ringworm and staph. And it's weird because no one will really teach you or show you what this is. There needs to be more awareness about this in general.
No, it's like a weird thing of like, you don't want to walk into a gym and there's like pictures of staph in your face.
It's a really...
But it is a weird thing where like...
People need to know about it.
You only find out once you get staph for the first time.
Yeah.
Which is a bit scary because that means that you're probably training with staph.
Yes.
You haven't realized because you don't know what it is.
Yes.
And now you've like probably...
If you're like, oh, I think I've got a bit of a like bug bite.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like a pimple.
I love when I get the bug bites. You always get that from white belts.
People come up to George like, George, I've got a bug bite. And he's like, brother, that's not a bug bite. Listen here.
I've never had a bug bite that's got pus in it. Like,
I don't know. We'll put some photos up on the video of what ringworm and staph can look like.
Yeah.
Okay, but it's important to know. It's important to know. And the thing is, look, if you, it's a risk that you take. Like I went a long time without getting ringworm or staph, and then got ringworm twice.
Yeah.
But you just get the right. You can go to the pharmacy.
Yeah.
You stop training immediately. Here's the whole point, right? It's understand what it looks like very early on. So if you have any concerns at all, this might be a skin infection of some sort, you immediately stop training. You talk to an expert or a coach.
Yeah.
Because the coaches have probably seen it enough where they can kind of guide you. I think that might be staph, or just keep an eye on it. You're not sure. Then you can go see a doctor. With staph generally, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Generally, sometimes you can handle it with over-the-counter prescription creams and ointments. If it's past a certain point, they might put you on a cycle of antibiotics. Is that pretty?
Yeah, I think the issue is the education around this. Even your GPs, a lot of times, will not have a good understanding of staph. First and foremost, it's not like a shameful thing. It's kind of an odd part of the sport, but if you do train this sport, at some stage, you may actually get staph. It's quite
statistically,
likely. Statistically, it's quite likely, unless you have a really amazing immune system. I think maybe we won't say too much about this because we'll try to get somebody on the podcast.
Let's do a full podcast
that actually
about
knows what they're talking about, and we can dive deep.
That's a good point. Let's bring it back to beginners. Bring it back to basics. If you notice anything irregular on your skin at all, don't train until it's been cleared. Basically, that's the way I see it.
Solid point. Or just like early, you can just ask a coach.
Yeah, so like, hey, look, I have this. I'm not sure what it is, or just take a few days off. Yeah. Worse, if it was just an ingrown hair, it's like, okay, you've just had a few days rest. It's an ingrown hair. It's fine. You're back to training. But, worst case scenario, or best case scenario rather, you've just prevented a potential transfer to other people and then impacting them as well. And staph's one of those things you do want to catch early as well. So that's why the education piece is quite important, but we'll make another video on that for sure.
And I think just to clarify to white belts, a lot of reasons why they might hide it or not think about it because they feel awkward or ashamed or they're going to become like the staph person.
Yeah, it's not leprosy.
It's not.
You're not a leper. You don't have to be like. Yeah. You can still come to the gym and hang out as well. Yeah. Here's the thing as well. There's a misconception, even that I had, to be honest, where it was like an outbreak, where it's like this gym has staph, but my gym's all good. Because I was training at a place where people would get skin infections, but it was very, very quiet. They would just silently disappear and then come back. And there was not one, I don't think there was maybe one PSA that I've had in 6 years. Yeah. One PSA of hey guys, this is what to, and it was very, very brief and generic. Yeah. So I just didn't even think about it. Yeah. I personally never got it, but because no one talked about it, I just thought that's the thing that the dirty gyms have. Yeah. While the more I'm owning a gym and now I talk to dozens of gym owners all around the world. Yeah. It's just it's a risk of the sport. You can be perfectly hygienic as an individual and perfectly clean as a gym, and it's still just a risk. Yeah. That sometimes happens. Some people have different immune systems as well. It's just something that can happen. Some people might. I put a poll up actually saying have you ever had staph or ringworm? And I had probably 100 responses, which is a decent sample size. And it was 60% of people said yes, and 40% said no. Yeah.
Some people are just more prone to it. Yeah. It's not a big deal ultimately, and you don't have to feel weird about it.
Yeah, you don't have to cut your arm off. Yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
Just take a week off or 2 weeks, as long as until it clears up.
Yeah.
Cool. Anything else to say on etiquette? We went on a skin infection tangent, but it is important actually, to be honest. So it's kind of good to bring it up. And beginners are likely to click on this video.
Yeah, that's true.
Etiquette. What mistakes would beginners make walking into a gym, just not knowing? Different gyms will have, this is a bit different for different gyms. Different gyms will have different rules and etiquette, and a lot of it will be unwritten. That's the hard part. That's the fucking hard part. If you're in a traditional gym, there are probably at least 15 rules that you don't know. I'm going to list a few off, and this is not something that necessarily we do. In fact, we probably don't. But here's a list of things that you might come across in certain gyms. You have to bow before you walk on the mats. What else is there?
You have to ask when you go to the bathroom.
You have to ask permission. Yeah, Kippy said on his podcast, you have to ask permission before you go to the bathroom. You're not allowed to ask a higher belt to roll.
You need to line up by rank.
You need to line up by rank before the class starts so you don't stand in the wrong spot. Lakshmi. And embarrass us. No, you're right. A lot of gyms, this is great. A lot of gyms will train in accordance to IBJJF rules in their category. So if a blue belt is rolling with a black belt, if the blue belt goes for a heel hook, that black belt might be like, what the fuck are you doing going for heel hooks on me?
Yeah. That's kind of an odd area, right? Because these are unwritten rules.
They're unwritten.
So essentially, it should be up to that gym or each individual gym to communicate this in some fashion.
Definitely.
As opposed to scold you once you've broken this unwritten
rule. That's my favorite way, though, just to scold them.
Yeah.
Or another thing is they might have mandatory uniforms where you have to wear the rash guard, wear the gi. If that happens, you email them that you're going to cancel your membership and you train somewhere else. No, I'm just joking. We'll have debates about that. We'll have debates about that. But look, if you walk into a gym wearing a t-shirt from another gym, you might unknowingly just be causing tension because you don't understand what the relationship is like with that gym. You don't understand how the owner feels. Yeah. But you could, as an individual, as a beginner, you could talk to the coaches and say, hey, is there anything I should know about? Any rules that you guys have that I should know about?
Yes.
There's obvious ones like don't wear shoes when you're on the mats. One thing that actually a lot of people don't do this, even I've got signs up and people still don't do it, I have to tell them, is when you're stepping off the mats, put shoes on. The reason being is if you've just walked off the mat, you've walked off the mats to go to the bathroom, you're barefoot, you've walked into the bathroom, you've used the toilet barefoot. Do you think it's a good idea to come back on the mats and put your foot in George's face? Is that a good idea?
Ask yourself.
Take a good hard look at yourself. No, it's not a good idea. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So, but you don't think about that. You're just like, hey, I'm training, I'm going to the bathroom.
Yeah.
In hindsight, it's obvious, but when you're stepping off the mats, you should be putting on shoes.
Yes.
For hygiene reasons.
I agree. Something that beginners, semi-related, but I think something we should point out to beginners is when you first try a jiu-jitsu gym and you feel the vibe and whether you like it or not, just be aware that just because this gym is like this doesn't mean that every gym is like that. Okay? I think if you're a beginner, it's okay to try a few different gyms to get an understanding of the different types of gyms out there. I think when I first started, you just assume, this gym is, goes by these rules. That means this is jiu-jitsu and they're all like this, where it's really not the case. And with speaking about etiquette, right? Different gyms have different etiquette. And so ultimately you have to find a gym that aligns with your values.
100%. I would even encourage you, if you're a beginner, if there are several gyms around you, to go to as many gyms as you possibly can. And a lot of gyms will have one free trial, but if possible, see if you can get like a 10-pack or train for a month. And the best case scenario, because look, you don't really think about this when you join a gym, but you're probably going to be there for like maybe 5 or 6 years, maybe 8 years. You've got to spend a lot of time at this place. So you should do some due diligence in actually checking out what the options are.
Yeah.
Because you probably had the same experience. I just went to the first gym.
Yeah.
The closest gym to my house.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, this is where I'm training.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, I could have been a bit more diligent and just trying different gyms.
Yeah.
And I think, and if it's a good coach and owner, they should encourage that when you come in for a trial. If someone comes in for a trial here, often it happens, and they say, hey, I've just moved to Sydney. I'm just trying a few gyms and seeing what I like. I say, absolutely. And they have a trial class here. They try other gyms. They might come back. They might not.
Yeah.
But it's best for them to be informed about like which gym will fit their values. What again, it comes back to what are they trying to get out of training?
Yeah. Agreed.
Thanks.
Should we end it there?
End it there. Like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you. Peace.
Oh.